Good morning students. Today we are going to start the next chapter of your syllabus. The name of that chapter is the Mughal Empire. Under the medieval India, the Mughal Empire. That is a chapter number 9. Clear? So in this chapter mainly we will talk about the sources from where we get the information about the Mughal Empire. So number of sources available. So we will talk about that sources as well as the political history and administration work under the Akbar. Clear? That are the main task which we have to complete. So the main source of information about the Mughals are, one is Ain-e-Akbari, which was written by Abul Fazl. Another one is Red Fort, then Jama Masjid and Taj Mahal. So total 4 sources of information available. So out of that, first I will talk about the Ain-e-Akbari. Clear? So it was written by Abul Fazl. That is a picture of Abul Fazl. He was a person who wrote Ain-e-Akbari, as well as he was one of the 9 jewels of Akbar's court. So during that time Akbar administration, so Akbar court was adorned in his administration 9 jewels were there, means 9 persons, 9 personalities which were excel in their fields, that available there. So out of that 9 gems, one is Abul Fazl who wrote Ain-e-Akbari. Clear? It was a part of large project of history writing commissioned by Akbar. It is regarding as a precious source material for knowing the administration and culture. So that Ain-e-Akbari give us valuable information about the political as well as about the administration as well as about the culture of Akbarism, that which type of culture was going on, which type of how the administration function run by the Akbar. Clear? So Ain-e-Akbari is divided into 5 books. Clear? That is the main source of information. Ain-e-Akbari divided into 5 books. Clear? So 5 books were there. So the first book deal with the imperial households. Clear? So first book deal with the imperial households. Which type of households used by them. Clear? Then next book deal with the servants. Clear? Deals. First book deal with the imperial household. Second book deal with the servants of that time, servant of the emperor, military and civil services. Clear? So they third book deals with the imperial administration. Clear? Third book deals with the administration, political administration, as well as which type of regulations, rules, regulations were there, judicial function, how the executive run departments, so which type of department were, this type of information related to administration we will receive from the third book. Then fourth book contain information about the Hindu philosophy. Clear? Hindu philosophy. That is a fourth book which provide us information about the philosophy of that time. Then fifth book contain the wise sayings of Akbar. Clear? Wise sayings of Akbar. So that is the main part of information. Ain-e-Akbari containing 5 books. Under 5 books, first book deal with imperial household, second deal with servants, third book deal with administration, fourth book deal with Hindu philosophy, and the fifth containing the wise sayings of Akbar, whatever say by Akbar during that written by Abul Fazl in the 5th book. Clear? So it is also contain the biography of the author. Next we will talk about, that is the main source of information. Lot of information we will receive from Abul Fazl, one of the 9 jewels. So examiner can ask, write something about Ain-e-Akbari, or how many books contain Ain-e-Akbari. So which book provide which type of information, first book provide which type of information, such type of question. Clear? Now next we will talk about the Taj Mahal. That is a next building, Taj Mahal. So it was built by Shah Jahan in memory of his beloved wife. The name of his wife Mumtaz Mahal. Clear? So it is built on Agra. Where it was built? Built on Agra on the bank of river Yamuna. It was designed by Ustad Isha Khan. So they can ask question that Taj Mahal was built on whose memory? So on the memory of his beloved wife of Shah Jahan. The name of his wife is Mumtaz Mahal. Or they can ask that who designed Taj Mahal? The name of that person Ustad Isha Khan. Clear? It is made of white marble. Clear? You can see in the picture also, it is made from white marble. The main structure constructed on high platform. The platform where it was constructed, that is very high. Clear? On each of the four corners of this platform there is a minaret, and the central dome rises to the height of 56.1 meter. Clear? So central dome, it rises on the height of 56.1 meter. Clear? The entire structure of Taj Mahal is made of marble, white marble, and wall are decorated with the floral designs. Means walls of this Taj Mahal decorated with the floral designs, which was made from semi stones. Clear? Semi precious means different type of precious stone used to design on that walls. Next is this method of decoration, means floral method was used on the design of these walls of Taj Mahal, and these method of decoration known as Paita Dura. What we call Paita Dura. So the examiner can ask about the Paita Dura also. So Paita Dura was one of the decoration, part of decoration which was used on Taj Mahal. Clear? Which type of decoration? Decoration with the floral design. Okay, made from semi precious stone. Clear? That design is known as Paita Dura. Next we will talk about the that is also by the UNESCO, that is also declared one of the World Heritage Site. Clear? Taj Mahal. Now next we will talk about the next source of information, that is Jama Masjid. Clear? So it was also built by Shah Jahan. Jama Masjid is the biggest mosque in India, one of the biggest mosques in India, which was built by which king? Shah Jahan. Its courtyard has a capacity to commemorate thousands of people at a time. Thousands of people, they can sit together. Then it is built on a lofty basement and majestic flights of steps leading to imposing the gateway of Jama Masjid. Means flights of steps were there to lead to the gate of Jama Masjid. It has 3 gateways. How many gateways are there on Jama Masjid? 3 gateways, and 3 gateways lead with the steps of flights, majestic flights of steps. 3 gateways reach to the mosque. The Northern gate has 39 steps. Northern gate has 39 steps. Eastern gate has 35 steps, and one more eastern gate 35, and another one is 33 steps. So total 3 gates were available, and different steps were there to reach to the Jama Masjid. Next we will talk about the Red Fort. It was also built by the Shah Jahan after he decided to shift his capital to Delhi. When he decided that to shift his capital to Delhi, during that time Red Fort was built by him. It is located on the bank of river Yamuna. Clear? So examiner can ask that on the bank of river Yamuna which buildings were constructed by Shah Jahan. Clear? So Taj Mahal and Red Fort. It was also made from red sand, like here white marble used, but here red sandstone used for the construction of this building. So red sandstone and marble were used for the construction of a this Red Fort. The western gate is known as Lahori Gate. So Lahori, they can ask about the Lahori Gate also. So western gate of Red Fort is known as Lahori Gate. This gate was used for the emperor ceremonial purpose, means only emperor used that gate. Among the many impressive buildings in the complex, number of buildings available under the Red Fort, among that one is Diwan-e-Aam, another one is Diwan-e-Khas. So they can ask about the building also. So two important buildings were there. One is Diwan-e-Aam, another one is Diwan-e-Khas. You can underline on your book also. The Diwan-e-Khas is the lavishly ornamented hall. Diwan-e-Khas, lavishly ornamented hall where the peacock throne was placed. The hall was used by the emperor to give audience to the princes of the royal families, nobles and others important dignitaries. They just attend to that one. So Aurangzeb later built the Moti Masjid in the Red Fort. It is made of pure marble. So Red Fort is an important historical monument. Clear? Many historical events are connected with this fort. The Prime Minister of India every year unfurls the national flag from its rampart on Independence Day. Clear? So that fort was famous. Now we will talk about the Mughal dynasty. Clear? So 3 or 4 sources of information available: Red Fort, Abul Fazl's Ain-e-Akbari, Jama Masjid and Taj Mahal. Now next we will talk about the Mughal dynasty. So under the Mughal dynasty, mainly 3 kings were there in your syllabus. One is Babur, Akbar and Aurangzeb. Clear? But due to COVID-19, today we will learn about the Akbar political administration in this year. Clear? So Babur, first I will tell you something about Babur also. Babur, whose full name was Jahuruddin Muhammad Babur. Jahuruddin Muhammad Babur was a descendant of Temur. Clear? Number of expeditions led by Babur also, and after that number of battles, famous battle which previous years you learn it, like Battle of Panipat, Battle of Khanwa, Haldi Ghati, all fought by him. So after that another great ruler, that is Akbar. So he was the greatest of the Mughal ruler of India. He was only 13 years old. How many years old? Only 13 years old when he ascended the throne. He is very much small. Clear? So he ascended the throne only when he was 13-year-old. So because of that he was guided by his tutor, and the name of his tutor is Bairam Khan. Bairam Khan, that is the name of tutor. Clear? So that person who taught him about the political administration of to how to handle the political administration. So Akbar, under the guidance of Bairam Khan, ascended the throne. Clear? So Akbar succeeded to difficult position, and a number of expeditions led by him, as he was very small, so he guided by Bairam Khan. So Afghans were regrouping their forces under the leadership of Hemu, the Wazir of Adil Shah, as well as others also led different type of expeditions with the Akbar. Clear? So in the second battle of Panipat, the famous second battle of Panipat was fought by the Mughal forces. Clear? So that fought by the Mughal forces under the leadership of that person. Clear? So after that we will talk about the Rajput policy of Akbar. He was the one who led with the friendly relation. He was the one who maintained friendly relation with the Rajput also. Number of Rajputs were appointed by him under him in their administration. Clear? So even he entered with marriage alliances also with number of Rajput princes. Clear? So among that Bharamal was one of the ruler of Amber. He married his younger daughter Harka Bai. So Harka Bai was one of the Rajput princes who married to Akbar. So they can ask about the Rajput princes also. Which Rajput princes married to Akbar? So Harka Bai. So Akbar not only gave complete religious freedom to his wives to handle on the administration function, because he was a Rajput princess, but he gave number of freedom to him. Clear? So Rajput policy of Akbar
was very liberal toward them, because they different religions were there, like Rajputs were mainly Hindus, but Akbar using the was one of the Muslim. So but he follow the liberal policy as well as liberal attitude towards other also, other means other Rajput also. So he was one of the person who was very means very friendly towards other religions also. He respect other religions in his time also, and number of battles also fought by him, like battle of Panipat, battle of Haldi Ghati. Clear? So they can ask question related to that also. Battle of Panipat. Clear? In the second battle of Panipat, the Mughal forces led by Bairam Khan. Clear? Bairam Khan, one of the tutor of Akbar. Clear? He defeated Hemu. Clear? And battle of Haldi Ghati also fought in 1576 between Maharana Pratap, the ruler of Mewar, and the Mughal army led by Raja Man Singh, one of the Rajput. Raja Man Singh. Clear? So he died. Akbar died at that last time he died, and his authority had extended from Assam in the east to the area beyond the north western frontier, Kabul and Kandahar in the west. In the Deccan, his dominion included Ahmednagar, Khandesh and Birar also. Clear? Now we will discuss about some of the steps toward integration. Which steps were followed by Akbar towards integration? So first, Akbar abolished Jizya tax. Clear? Jizya, sorry. So one of the Jizya tax during that time was prevalent. During Akbar started the Jizya tax, but abolished also by him. So Akbar abolished the poll tax or Jizya, which was non-Muslim had to pay. Means those who are not Muslim, they had to pay the Jizya tax, which is also known as toll tax. Means moving from one place to another place, they have to pay the tax. Clear? Means if they want to go to for pilgrim, so they have to give tax also. So number of tax available during that time. So he abolished the Jizya tax, which the non-Muslims were required to pay. He abolished the pilgrim tax also. Pilgrim tax for means on bathing at holy places. Pilgrim tax. Jizya means toll tax from one place to another place. If any person want to, they have to give toll tax, that is Jizya tax. Another one is pilgrim tax, means if person, any non-Muslim want to take holy bath on any temple or any religious place, they had to pay the pilgrim tax. So this type of tax abolished by Akbar. Clear? Then next he built a hall called Ibadat Khana. Ibadat Khana. Next, that is Ibadat Khana was built by the Akbar. Hall of prayer at Fatehpur Sikri. Clear? So all the intellectuals from different field, all the religious mystics reach over there and they discuss spiritual matter over there on Ibadat Khana. Clear? So hall of prayer at Fatehpur Sikri was built by the Akbar. Clear? That also one of the step took by him. Clear? Next one is Deene Ilahi. Next is Deene Ilahi. Deene Ilahi. That also new religion was introduced by the Akbar, that is Deene Ilahi, which was based on the principle of oneness of God. We are one on the principle of oneness of God. That religion was introduced by him, a new religion. Clear? So it also demanded loyalty to the emperor. The basic purpose of forming Deene Ilahi was Sulh Kul or universal harmony. Sulh Kul means universal harmony.
harmony. Clear? Next is he also Akbar issued declaration or mahjar. Mahjar means declaration. Clear? So he issued declaration which made Akbar the supreme or final, means his decision was final. So that on any matter, on religious matter, on any power of ulemas was declined by this mahjar, means by the declaration given by the Akbar. Clear? Akbar set up big translation department also. Translation department also set up by him. Translation department. So under the translation department, Sanskrit, Arabic and Greek into Persian, means big translation work in Sanskrit, Arabian, Greek into Persian was there. Thus the Singhasan, Battisi, the Atharvaveda, the Bible were taken up for translations. So these were followed by the Quran, Mahabharata, Gita and Ramayana, means number of religious books also translated into different language. That all work also done by the Akbar. Next is social and religious reform. That is the last topic. After the integration, step toward the integration, we will move to the social and educational reform. Social and educational reforms done by Akbar. Clear? So Akbar issued order to the Kotwals. He issued order to the Kotwals to check that if anybody forcibly follow the practice of sati. So practice of sati, one of the evil, means burning of sati means burning of widow on a funeral pyre. That practice was done during that in ancient time. So he issued order to the Kotwal to check the forcefully practice of sati or the burning of widow on a funeral pyre of her husband. So only, however, the women who committed sati of their own free will were allowed to do so, not anybody else. Means this forcefully practice was stopped by the Akbar. Next is, first is related to sati. Then next is Akbar legalized widow remarriage. Widow remarriage also allowed by him. Clear? So he legalized. Then Akbar was against anyone having more than one wife unless the first wife could not bear children. So he was against this purpose also, if anybody having more than one wife. Akbar raised the age of marriage to 14 for girls and 16 for boys. He raised the age of marriage. Akbar revised the educational syllabus also, which lay more emphasis on moral values. So moral education was more stress given on the moral education, as well as other subject also taught by them, like mathematics, geometry, astronomy, agriculture. Means with that stress on moral science also given by them. Clear? So number of achievements done by Akbar, number of work done by Akbar, that we have to do in the we have to learn it. Now there is a time to give homework. Back exercise question, you have to solve it related to Akbar political and administration work. Clear? As well as 4 sources of information are there. Take reading of whole chapter thoroughly. Only then you are able to give answers of back exercise, as well as any extra question if put by the examiner, you are able to give answer only after the reading of chapters. Thank you.